The alien ship landed, but they didn't expect him as it asked. The sky tore open with a low hum. Clouds split like soft cloth, glowing with a strange green light. Birds flew in panic, animals ran from the fields, and people looked up in fear and awe. The alien ship was huge, twice the size of a stadium, and it hovered silently above a small town in Oregon. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, moving slowly as if it were alive. People screamed and ran, news crews arrived, and Earth's defense forces scrambled jets. But the ship did nothing aggressive. It only waited, quiet and still, above a single blue house with a white picket fence. Inside that house, a man named Jake was still in bed. His hair was messy, one sock was missing, and his alarm clock had already died hours ago. He wasn't a soldier, not a scientist, not a politician, just a regular man. Beside him, snoring loudly and sprawled across the blankets, was a small creature, a pug, wrinkly, wide-eyed, and wearing a ridiculous pink sweater with the words, "Boss Babe," stitched in glitter. Her name was Luna, and she was the laziest dog in town. Jake rubbed his eyes and sat up. The room was shaking slightly, picture frames tilting on the walls. He looked outside the window and blinked in disbelief. "Holy crap," he whispered. "Did someone park a Death Star over my house?" Luna jumped down with a grunt and waddled toward the door. Completely unfazed, Jake followed, stepping into his slippers without socks and grabbing a half-eaten granola bar. Outside, the air felt charged, like lightning was about to strike. The neighbors were hiding behind trees. Drones buzzed overhead, and soldiers had already formed a perimeter. Still, none of them dared to step inside Jake's yard. Not after the ship opened its belly and released a floating platform. And not after a group of alien guards walked down it, tall, scaled, glowing with armor that pulsed with energy. At their center was her, Princess Zelia of the Ilarian Dominion. Her skin shimmered like polished crystal, her silver hair floated as if underwater, and her eyes held the cold knowledge of 1,000 years of war. She had destroyed worlds, broken empires, and silenced kings. But now she walked slowly across a garden of petunias, heading toward a man in pajama pants and a pug chewing on grass. Everyone held their breath. Jake scratched his neck, unsure if he should wave or run. Luna walked straight up to the alien princess, sat down and farted, a tiny, sharp, undeniable sound that echoed across the silent neighborhood. Princess Zelia froze, her royal guards tensed, their hands on weapons. And then, the unthinkable happened. Zelia laughed. It was soft at first, then deeper, until it echoed like music from another world. She knelt, her glowing armor clicking gently, and extended a hand toward Luna. The pug sniffed it, sneezed on it, then licked it. The crowd gasped, cameras zoomed in, and every galactic broadcaster tuned in instantly. Earth was being watched not for war, not for peace, but for something far more confusing. Affection. Is she here for the dog? One soldier whispered. "No way," said another. "That thing looks like a loaf of bread that got punched." Jake walked closer, still half asleep, and finally said something. Hi," he mumbled. "Can I help you folks?" Princess Zelia stood slowly, her expression unreadable. She looked at him, then back at Luna, then back to him. "I have traveled across 3 galaxies," she said. "I have crossed battlefields soaked in blood and silence. I have conquered kings and crushed rebellions." She knelt again, gently lifting Luna into her arms like a sacred object. "And I have come to witness the Terran pug." Jake blinked, looked down at his snack bar, then back at her. "You mean Luna? Is this her name?" Yeah, I guess. She is divine," Zelia said seriously. "Her face holds the perfect balance of beauty and horror. Her snorts echo like sacred music." Luna burped, a little drool hanging from her lip. The princess nodded as if receiving a vision. From that moment, everything changed. Alien cruisers hovered respectfully outside Earth's orbit. Alien women of all shapes and species requested audience, not with Earth's leaders, but with Jake and his pug, Luna became a galactic icon, her face appearing on alien clothes, posters, even temples, Jake. He didn't understand any of it, he just knew that every day, more beautiful alien women appeared on his lawn, holding gifts, weapons, and sometimes marriage proposals, and all because of Luna, the sleepy pug in the pink sweater. Asterisk, why are alien women obsessed with this creature? Asterisk, the next morning, Jake woke up to the sound of humming, not from machines, but from voices, dozens of them. Soft and melodic, he peeked out the window and nearly dropped his coffee mug. His front lawn looked like a festival from another planet. There were tents made of glowing silk, alien women meditating, and floating orbs that emitted soothing light. One tall creature was even painting a giant portrait of Luna, her tongue sticking out and eyes half closed. Jake stepped outside slowly, unsure if he was dreaming again, but no, this was real. The scent of alien spices filled the air, blending strangely with the smell of fresh-cut grass and dog treats. Princess Zelia stood near the mailbox, speaking with a reptilian queen in full ceremonial armor. When she saw Jake, she bowed slightly. "Honored guardian of the pug," she said, "we have visitors from the four corners of the spiral arm." Jake raised a brow. "Is this about Luna again?" Zelia nodded, serious as always. "They seek wisdom, peace, and a chance to hold her." Jake glanced over to Luna, who was asleep on a lawn chair with sunglasses over her eyes. "She's literally drooling on herself." Jake muttered. "She is perfection," Zelia replied. "She has healed diplomatic wounds older than your civilization." Just then, a sleek silver pod landed gently on the sidewalk. The door opened, and out stepped a woman in a flowing blue gown covered in tiny lights. Her ears were long, her skin shimmered like water, and her eyes locked onto Jake instantly. "I am Ambassador Trell of Etheria," she said. "I come with a gift." She held out a crystal box containing what looked like a small moon fragment. Jake blinked. Thank you?" "I ask only one thing," Trell whispered, stepping closer. "May I brush her once?" "Just once," Zelia growled softly, stepping between them. "She brushed her yesterday." Trell's lips tightened. "She licked my hand." "She licked your ring." "It was touching my hand." Jake raised both hands. "Ladies, please, she's just a dog." Zelia turned to him slowly. "She is not just a dog," she said. "She is the bond beast of Earth." That afternoon, Luna's images appeared on screens orbiting alien moons. A news headline on the Alarian homeworld read, "The squish-faced prophet of Earth spreads." Peace again. On the planet Fen, warlords paused a 100-year blood feud to gather around a tablet and watch Luna sneeze. An insectoid empress had her palace musicians compose a symphony in honor of the blessed wheeze. Jake sat on his porch swing, stunned, as a young alien with feathers for hair approached him with a bouquet of glowing mushrooms. "For Luna," she said, smiling, and ... "Maybe also for you." He looked at her confused. "What exactly do you all want from me?" "You," she said softly, "and your pug." "But why?" "Because wherever she is, peace follows," she said. "And you are her chosen human." That evening, things got even weirder. A group of warriors from the mountain planet Truk knelt before Jake, placing swords at his feet. "We pledge our blades," one said, "to the one who walks beside the snorting oracle." Jake dropped his sandwich in disbelief. Even his mailman saluted him nervously. Luna rolled over, farted again, and continued snoring inside the house. Jake tried to call anyone from Earth's government, but all the lines were busy, apparently. Earth's diplomats were too stunned or too scared to interrupt the alien gathering. His phone vibrated with a message. "Mr. Jake, please continue caring for the pug. You are now Earth's official representative to the alien guests. Good luck." Jake stared at the message, then looked down at Luna. She yawned loudly, stretched, and plopped her head onto his foot. "Why are they all obsessed with you?" he asked. Luna only snored in reply. That night, while the stars blinked above and alien guests danced around glowing fires, Jake realized something strange. It wasn't just her cuteness. It was her calm, her presence, her complete lack of fear. Luna didn't care who was royal, who had weapons, or who could fly across galaxies. She was just herself, snorting, napping, and demanding belly rubs. And that made her powerful in a galaxy full of pride, ego, and endless war. He looked up and saw Princess Zelia watching him from a distance. She walked over slowly, then sat beside him on the porch. "Jake," she said gently, "you may not realize it yet, but you and the pug are changing the stars." Jake sighed, patting Luna's round belly. "I was just trying to sleep in today, and now the galaxy is wide awake," she said, smiling. The pug that united armies and broke hearts. Asterisk warships hovered above Earth, not to invade, but to impress a pug. Two rival fleets from opposite corners of the galaxy arrived within hours of each other. The skies shimmered with glowing symbols of the House of Vishek and the Crimson Daughters of Urith. Each force had once burned planets and crushed rebellions. Now, they played polite music over loudspeakers and dropped baskets of alien treats from the sky. Jake stood in his front yard, hands on his hips, staring at what looked like alien-shaped cookies raining down. "This can't be normal," he muttered. Luna was in the middle of the chaos, being brushed by a four-armed alien maiden, while another held an umbrella to block the sun. Dozens of alien women surrounded her, kneeling, singing lullabies in languages no one on Earth understood. And every time Luna blinked or tilted her head, the crowd gasped as if they had seen a miracle. Suddenly, a deep roar echoed across the town. A massive red shuttle landed behind the rival fleets, the ground trembling beneath its weight. From it emerged the Crimson General herself, Zhara of Urith, 6'8", covered in ceremonial tattoos and glowing armor. She stomped forward with purpose, flames crackling beneath her boots. She pointed a sharp claw toward the sky and shouted, "I challenge Vishek to a duel of honor for the right to worship the pug." The crowd gasped. Jake almost dropped his cereal bowl. "Wait, what?" he asked, blinking in disbelief. From the other side, General Terran of Vishek appeared, wearing golden robes and flanked by her elite guards. "She is not your goddess alone," Terran said calmly. "Let us fight. Winner gets the honor of grooming her first." Jake stepped between them, raising both hands. "Ladies, I don't think Luna wants a war. She must not witness blood," Zelia said, appearing beside him like a ghost. "It would hurt her spirit." "Then how do we solve this?" Jake asked. "Diplomacy," Zelia answered, "with the pug present." So the battlefield was turned into a picnic. Alien warriors sat in circles, passing roasted fruits, steaming drinks, and soft snacks to one another. Luna waddled among them, accepting pets, sniffs, and the occasional head pat. At one point, she climbed onto General Zhara's armored lap and fell asleep. The war leader froze like a statue, eyes wide, hands trembling. "I dare not move," she whispered. "She has chosen me." But Luna didn't stay long. Moments later, she rolled over and stumbled into General Terran's arms, licking her nose. Zhara scowled. "She plays with our emotions." "Truly," Terran said softly. "She is wise beyond measure." By nightfall, the two great alien armies had agreed to sign a temporary truce written in pink ink on a napkin from Jake's kitchen. Luna's Law, they called it. No bloodshed in her presence, no weapons drawn within 5 planets of Earth. And one special rule: any future duels must be approved by the pug herself. Jake sat in his chair on the porch, watching fireflies dance as alien soldiers sang lullabies beside burning lanterns. He shook his head slowly. "They were going to start a war," he muttered. "Over a dog that snores louder than my microwave." Zelia sat beside him, sipping from a wooden cup. "She is not just a dog," she said again. "She is a unifier." The next morning, a viral video took over every galactic media stream. It showed Luna waddling between alien warriors, accidentally stepping on a weapon's activation switch. The weapon fizzled and exploded in fireworks, showering The warriors with colorful sparks, instead of panic, they laughed, clapped, and lifted the Pug onto their shoulders. The video was titled, "Pug Ends 300-Year War with One Step." Thousands of alien girls began painting Pug symbols on their clothes, helmets, and skin. One high-ranking officer even tattooed Luna's face on her forehead. Others sent messages to Earth, begging to become her followers. Jake's email inbox overflowed with alien love letters, poems, and offers of marriage. They didn't want Jake for his strength or knowledge. They wanted him because he lived beside the one they now called the Soft Emperor. By the end of the week, 3 more alien cultures had renamed their peace treaties to the Protocol of the Sacred Snout. Luna didn't know, didn't care. She still just liked sleeping on warm socks and chewing things that squeaked. But Jake knew something deep had changed. He looked out at the stars and wondered, how had the universe, vast, terrifying, ancient, been softened by one small wrinkly face in a pink sweater? And how much longer before someone dangerous, someone cruel, decided to steal her away? The jealous alien king makes a move. Asterisk across the galaxy, not everyone was celebrating the Pug. In the Ember Moons, King Vathor sat on his throne of obsidian and rage. His golden crown pulsed with red light. Reacting to the anger rising in his veins, he watched the latest broadcast. From Earth, eyes narrowed as Luna sniffed a salad and became a trending icon. Even his advisors were whispering behind his back. The galaxy used to fear his wrath. Now they wore shirts with a pug face and the words, "Boop the nose." "This is madness," Vathor growled, crushing a crystal cup in one hand. My name once echoed across battlefields. Now it was the Pug they whispered about. His generals stayed quiet, too afraid to speak, but one finally stepped forward. "Your Majesty," she said carefully, "perhaps we should understand the source of her power." Vathor stared at her, then stood, his cloak snapping behind him like a flag. "Send the Shadow Fleet," he ordered. "Bring me the Terran Pug." "And the human?" "Useless," he snarled. "If he resists, remove him." Back on Earth, Jake was trying to enjoy a quiet morning. Alien guests were camping in the backyard, singing songs in 5 languages. Luna, as usual, was sitting in a kiddie pool, splashing her stubby paws and ignoring the political chaos she'd created. Jake handed her a cold cucumber and flopped into a chair. Exhausted. "I just want a normal day," he muttered. "Is that too much to ask?" Princess Zelia arrived moments later, her face pale, her steps fast. She pushed past guards and approached Jake with urgency. "There's danger," she said. "From the Ember Moons." Jake blinked. "Danger for who?" "For her," Zelia pointed at Luna. "King Vathor has sent a fleet to steal her." Jake looked at Luna, who was now chasing bubbles like a puppy. Why would a king care about her? "Because the Pug holds the galaxy's heart," Zelia said. "And if he controls the heart, he controls the people." Suddenly, alarms rang out. Earth's satellites detected cloaked ships entering orbit. Stealth-class vessels, fast and quiet Ember tech. They weren't here to talk. Jake grabbed Luna and ran into the house. Zelia followed, activating a shimmering barrier on the home. Alien allies appeared on the lawn, armor glowing, weapons charged. "No one takes her," said a warrior from Fen. "Not while we breathe." Inside, Jake placed Luna in her pink carrier. She stared up at him with her big round eyes, completely calm. "I think she's more relaxed than I am," Jake muttered. Zelia touched his shoulder. "We must move her," she said. "They'll destroy this place." But Luna had other plans. As Jake reached for the door, she barked once. Loud and commanding, everyone froze. Luna waddled out of her carrier, sat in the center of the room, and stared at the window. Seconds later, the first enemy drone slammed into the barrier. The house shook, but the shield held outside. Alien guests formed a wall of bodies between the home and the invaders. Jet black Ember soldiers appeared like shadows, moving fast and quiet. But the defenders' warriors from rival empires stood together. shoulder to shoulder. They had once hated each other. Now they were united by fur, snorts, and one very small dog. A massive explosion shook the backyard. The shield cracked. Inside, Jake panicked. "They're gonna get her," he whispered. Zelia looked down at Luna. "Unless we give them what they want on our terms." Moments later, a sleek hoverpod exited the burning house. Inside it sat Luna, calm, majestic. Wearing a tiny golden cape, the pod floated directly into the enemy formation. Unguarded, the Ember soldiers paused, unsure. Their orders were to capture the Pug, not destroy her. They opened the pod carefully, weapons raised, and found her sitting on a plush cushion. Blinking slowly, a drone moved to scan her. She sneezed directly onto its lens. Then she let out a sound that echoed through the battlefield, a snort so pure, so powerful, it made the soldiers hesitate. In that moment of stillness, the trap was sprung. Alien allies appeared from hidden positions. Surrounding the Ember troops, light cannons lit the sky, not with fire, but with blinding streams of glitter and light sound pulses designed by the musician monks of Virel. The enemy soldiers dropped their weapons, stunned by the non-lethal assault. At the center of it all, Luna sat on her cushion, tail wagging slowly above them. Vathor watched from his command ship. He saw his elite forces defeated not by bullets, but by music, light, and Pug magic. He slammed his fist against the control board. "This isn't over," he hissed, back on Earth. Jake scooped up Luna and hugged her tight. "You just baited an enemy fleet," he said. "And beat them by sitting still," Zelia smiled, wiping soot from her face. "She has more power than any weapon." As night fell, the skies cleared and peace returned to the neighborhood. But far away, King Vathor began plotting something darker, and Jake knew the fight for Luna had just begun. Operation Pug Shield. Asterisk. The world's governments didn't understand what had happened. They saw blurry videos, odd reports, and confused soldiers with glitter in their hair. But the truth was undeniable. Earth had survived an alien kidnapping attempt, not because of weapons or armies, but because a Pug in a golden cape refused to leave her cushion. Deep underground, inside a secret bunker lined with old concrete and flickering lights, Jake paced nervously. Luna was snoring on a thick pillow beside him, her legs twitching as she dreamed. Alien dignitaries sat in chairs too small for their armor, arguing over what to do next. "We must move her to a safer planet," said a general from the ice world of Narak. "She stays here, princess." Zelia said, "Earth is sacred now, thanks to her. But what if King Vathor returns with something worse?" Jake asked, "You saw what he tried last time." Zelia looked at him, her eyes sharp. "Then we fight back," she said, "not with missiles, but with unity." Jake shook his head. "She's just a Pug," he said. "She doesn't even understand what's happening." At that moment, Luna woke up, stretched, and yawned with a sound like a tiny horn. Everyone turned and stared as she slowly rolled over, then farted once before falling back asleep. "She knows," whispered the Empress of Vil, bowing her head. "She always knows." It was decided then. If the Pug could not be hidden, she had to be protected, and so began Operation Pug Shield. Within hours, alien engineers worked side by side with human technicians. They built a mobile defense unit disguised as a food truck, painted with rainbows and cartoon pugs. Inside was a command center, shield generators, and one plush throne for Luna, complete with a snack dispenser. They attached miniature drones that hovered nearby, projecting her image into space with a caption in 87 languages. "She is safe. She is watching." Jake stood next to the truck, arms crossed, watching it hum to life. "This feels ridiculous," he muttered. Zelia adjusted her blade. "Ridiculous is what saves galaxies now," she replied. They traveled across cities, deserts, and oceans, meeting people, calming tensions, and making headlines. Everywhere the Pug went, problems disappeared, warlords turned poets, protesters turned singers, and even a volcano stopped erupting for exactly 10 minutes while Luna took a nap nearby. but peace came at a price. Vathor wasn't idle. He had sent spies, shapeshifters, cloakers, agents who moved like shadows, and one got close. Jake was brushing Luna's fur behind the village school in Kenya when he felt it. A chill in the air, a silence that wasn't natural. The children playing nearby suddenly stopped laughing. One of the teachers walked toward them, but her eyes were wrong, glowing faintly red. Jake stepped back slowly, placing Luna behind him. "Who are you?" he asked. The woman smiled, her voice glitching. "Just someone who wants the pug." Before she could take another step, a flash of blue light struck her from the sky. Princess Zelia dropped from a cloaked glider, landing with her sword drawn. The teacher hissed, her form glitching into something tall and metallic, with sharp limbs and glowing fangs, but she never reached Luna. Zelia moved fast, silent and deadly. One strike, and the fake collapsed into sparks. Jake picked up Luna, who licked his face with complete trust. "We're going to need stronger defenses," he said. "No," Zelia said. "We need her too." "Lead." They returned to the mobile unit. But something had changed in Jake. He no longer saw Luna as just a sleepy pet. He saw her for what she had become, a symbol, a miracle, and maybe something more. That night, Jake stood at the edge of a desert, watching the stars shift. Luna sat beside him, snorting quietly. "Why you?" he whispered. "Out of everyone on this crazy planet. Why you?" She didn't answer, of course. She only leaned her warm body against his leg and sighed, and in that small sound, he felt the weight of everything she carried without even knowing it. The next morning, a message came through the stars. A royal seal, cracked in half. King Vathor had issued a new order, not to capture the pug, but to wipe out Earth entirely. The pug was no longer a symbol of peace. She had become a threat to tyranny, and Vathor had decided, if he could not possess her, he would erase her. Asterisk, a pet or a prophet. Asterisk, the stars above Earth dimmed as an unfamiliar shadow stretched across the sky. A ring of flame circled the atmosphere like a warning. King Vathor's final weapon had arrived. The Eclipse Core, a world-ending dreadnought said to contain a black sun in its heart. It wasn't just here to destroy cities. It was here to erase the soul of Earth. People screamed, armies scrambled. World leaders tried to reach one another, but satellites jammed, space went silent, and hope began to break. Jake sat in the pug mobile, holding Luna close. She looked up at him with those soft round eyes, unafraid. "I don't know how to protect you anymore," he whispered, his voice shaking. She responded with a quiet sneeze, as if telling him to keep going, across the stars. News of the incoming destruction spread like wildfire, but instead of fleeing, the alien worlds that Luna had touched began to rally. Messages flew in, some encoded in song, others in color or scent. One simple sentence appeared again and again. In every language, "Protect the pug, save the peace." From the lava rivers of Urith came fire-clad warriors. From the sky forests of Vil came winged sisters who rode wind serpents. From the silent ice domes of Truk came monks with crystal shields. One by one, ships jumped into orbit, forming a circle around Earth. Jake stared at the screen as thousands of vessels aligned. "They're protecting her," he whispered. Zelia nodded, standing beside him. "She is not just yours anymore," she said softly. "She is ours, our bond, our hope, our prophet." The Eclipse Core began to charge, its belly glowing with red heat. The Allied fleet tried hailing Vathor, but he refused all messages. He had made up his mind, if the galaxy loved a pug more than him, then the galaxy would burn. Luna climbed onto the console, her tiny paws pressing buttons randomly. Jake tried to lift her off, but the system lit up, flashing in symbols only the aliens understood. "She's activating the harmony code," gasped Zelia. "How does she even know it exists?" "I think she doesn't," Jake whispered. "She just feels." On screen, the war fleets began glowing in sync. Each ship started transmitting a musical frequency, one soft hum after another. Together, it created a symphony, deep and ancient, that vibrated across space and into the heart of the Eclipse core. Vathora's weapon hesitated. Its energy faltered, sensors confused by the overwhelming signal of unity inside the Pug mobile. Luna stood still on her throne, back straight, ears perked. She was silent for once. Eyes locked on the burning ring in the sky, Jake watched, stunned, as the AI systems registered something impossible. Emotional field detected, the display read. Origin, canine. Suddenly, the core began to crack, not from fire or lasers, but from the inside. The soldiers aboard, exposed to the Pug's harmonics, began to cry. Some dropped their weapons, others sat down and wept openly. One captain hugged a photo of his daughter for the first time in decades. Then came the transmission, a single image. Luna in her pink sweater blinking slowly. The caption said, "Even a small soul can change the stars." The Eclipse core shut down, systems offline. Vathor roared in fury, his voice shaking the halls of his ship. "She is a beast," he screamed. Nothing more. But no one followed him anymore. His command bridge was empty, his army silent, his reign broken not by war, but by one small dog who reminded them what peace felt like. Jake watched as the enemy fleet drifted away, scattered and aimless. He picked up Luna and hugged her tight. "You did it," he said. "You didn't bark, you didn't bite, and still, you won." Zelia stood behind him, wiping tears from her face. "She is the only creature I've ever bowed to willingly," she whispered. "And I'd do it again." The world celebrated for weeks. Cities that once feared aliens now invited. Then to dinner, statues were raised, medals forged, temples carved with Luna's round face at the center. She didn't care about any of it. She still just wanted naps, peanut butter, and tummy rubs. But to the galaxy, she was no longer a pet. She was a prophet, a legend. A reminder that even something small, soft, and silly could stop the mightiest tyrant. And as for Jake, he knew things would never be the same. He had traveled across the planet, survived alien wars, and stood between stars, all because of a Pug who snorted in her sleep and never gave up being herself. The final choice: love, war, or walkies? Galactic leaders arrived on Earth not in warships, but in carriages made of starlight and flowers. The skies sparkled with peaceful lights, no longer symbols of fear, but of respect. The Pug had done what centuries of politics never could. She united species. They called it the Luna Accord, signed under a cherry blossom tree behind Jake's house. At its center sat Luna, asleep on a velvet pillow, one paw twitching while she dreamed of snacks. But peace came with a strange price. Every alien leader wanted something in return. Not more treaties, not land or resources. They wanted Luna to visit their homeworlds, become a living symbol, a holy guest, a cosmic ambassador. Jake looked at the list and nearly passed out. 57 invitations, he muttered, and 2 marriage proposals for her. Zelia smiled softly. The Crystal Duchess of Dren wants her to bless their moon temples. The Empress of Bone World wants her paw print on their flag. And the Singing Sisterhood of Zun wants her to co-host their reality show. Jake rubbed his temples. "She's a dog," he whispered. "She still eats socks and rolls in mud. But she is their hope," Zelia replied gently. "And so are you." He sat on the porch, watching the stars blink in unfamiliar colors. Luna climbed into his lap and sneezed. Her breath smelled like peanut butter, her eyes full of trust. "They want us to leave Earth," he said to her. "To live among stars, to stand in temples, to lead galactic peace talks." Luna wagged her tail slowly, then farted. The next day, the world waited for Jake's answer. Alien ships hovered respectfully in low orbit, broadcasting the event across hundreds of systems. Drones flew above his house, lights flashing as millions watched the human and his Pug. Jake stepped onto a small stage in his front yard. Holding Luna in his arms, he looked into the nearest camera, unsure of what to say. He cleared his throat. "I'm just a guy," he began. "I'm not a hero, not a leader, not even good at doing laundry." Luna yawned mid-speech, and the crowd laughed. "But this little creature beside me?" He continued. "She didn't do anything special. She just stayed herself. She didn't care who you were, what you looked like, or how many planets you ruled. She only cared if you were kind. And I think that's what this galaxy needed." The crowd was silent. Some alien dignitaries wiped tears from their many eyes. "And if you're asking me to leave Earth, to travel with her to every star system," Jake paused. He looked at Luna, who licked his chin gently. "Then fine," he said. "But we're doing it on one condition." He pulled out a small leash, glittering faintly in the sunlight. "She leads," he said. "Not me." The world exploded in cheers. Ships fired peaceful light beams into the sky. The singing sisterhood began composing a song mid-broadcast, and Luna? She wagged her tail twice, barked once, and then curled up in Jake's arms for a nap. Weeks later, the Pugmobile had been upgraded into a royal cruiser, shaped like a bone, powered by star energy, with rooms lined in soft carpets and automated treat dispensers. Jake sat in the captain's chair, surrounded by alien advisors and robotic assistants. But Luna sat on the real throne, a round cushion in the center of the room. The cruiser flew past comets and nebulae, docking on strange planets. Everywhere she went, alien children rushed forward to pet her. Leaders bowed low, and wars paused. For walkies, she never barked commands, never gave orders. She just was. And that was enough to change the universe. Jake sometimes sat quietly, watching her snore while being worshipped by glittering queens and armored giants. "I still don't get it," he whispered once. Zelia smiled from across the chamber. "You don't need to get it," she said. "You only need to protect it. In time." Luna became more than a symbol. She became a story, a legend, a light, in temples on moons and murals in spaceports. Artists painted her squished face beside the words, "Peace begins with a pug." And though the galaxy changed, Jake never forgot the truth. She was just his dog, a small, sleepy ball of wrinkles who liked belly rubs and hated thunder. But somehow, by simply being herself, she healed a universe that had forgotten how to be soft. And so, every morning, no matter what world they landed on, he asked her the same question, "Ready for walkies?" And without fail, she wagged her tail and changed. The stars all over again,